Well, we all were surprised and shocked when it was Sushmita Sen who went ahead and announced that she suffered a heart attack, massive heart attack, and she's back in a healthy way with a healthy heart. Well, it was one Dr. Rajiv Bhagwat, cardiologist, who was the person. In fact, Sushmita Sen herself mentioned his name when she went first live after her major surgery, that was angioplasty. I'm now joined by Dr. Rajiv Bhagwat with me. So thank you so much for speaking with us. Certainly, when we see uh, an actress like Sushmita Sen, who is always seen with the videos of fitness, when she going ahead and announcing that it was a massive heart attack, how is it that one can, in fact, even consume that lady like her has suffered a heart attack?
Yeah, first and foremost, thanks for having me on this on your new channel. We will talk in general terms because we generally don't want to discuss patients in the media. Now, as she herself has said, she was lucky, and what helped her the most was her physical fitness. She can actually say that she's a fitness freak, and rightly so, because she's in an industry where she has to always keep up to all the challenges and stresses that come by the day, and she has to feel fit, look good, and maintain, and most important, maintain the energy levels. So I think the fitness level that she had helped her to tide over this crisis, which would otherwise would have been a pretty serious one had the person not been to her level of fitness.
So, what are do's and what are don'ts when it comes to something when we have to talk about keeping our heart more healthy, especially in
Yeah.
age?
So
Because she was at
yeah,
an age, she was in 40s.
yeah. So I will. I think what you rightly said, age is an issue, and here the questions asked nowadays are why even ladies are at risk, which they were not earlier. Yes, that is true. Ladies to a large extent are protected before menopause because of estrogen that the ovary secretes, and estrogens protect the heart, they prevent heart attacks. But the lady today is moving out, she's moving out of the house, she's accepting more challenges, there are more stresses, there are changed food habits, she's working shoulder to shoulder with men. And if you see the newspaper on a daily basis, there are so many ladies, there's so much of information, news items, startups, they are managing several companies, they are CEOs. So with all these challenges comes stress, which is a very big factor. Now, you can actually say this is a change in lifestyle of the lady, of the modern day woman. The changing lifestyles, they are exposed to lifestyle related diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and so forth. Uh, Food habits have changed, and above most, they also are prone to diabetes, because if you see there's an epidemic of diabetes in the world, there's an epidemic of obesity. So obesity also is one of the factors leading to diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol. And number one, the risk factor which people uh, don't pay attention to sometimes is family history. Now, if there is family history with the lady or the gentleman, then he or she should be more careful and try to address it by uh, going to her or her doctor.
Sir, when you talk about the fitness, when you talk about the other diseases, that are somewhere harmful for the life, you spoke about the obesity and all other concerns, major concerns for heart-related things. If you have to talk about that, sir, at the same time, we see a lot of youngsters also getting into the fitness world. You talk about gymming, you talk about having other activities. So we have seen several youngsters getting into gym. So what is it that even if like they are doing gymming, in fact, there are so many cases before or after gym, they have suffered a massive heart attack.
Yeah. So let me answer your first question. Obesity, the epidemic of obesity that is uh, has engulfed, I would say, the world. Uh, the people, well, more than 30% of the world population is obese. So that epidemic has to be tackled with. So that is what is the way to go forward is to control your food habits, to be fit, uh, to know your risk factors. Often obesity is genetic uh, at times. So you have to identify that factors, you have to seek proper advice. And then comes the most important issue of fitness, where people are trying to go to gyms, they're hitting the gyms, or they when you often you feel in the morning, you find in the morning there are people jogging on the road. So the most important message I would like to send across is first have a good night's sleep. Should have a good night's sleep. 6 to 7 hours is an average that every adult should have, and then hit the gym and then go and exercise. So that is the most healthy way to do it, because your body gets enough rest and then is ready for action. At the same time, it is not advisable to go to the gym or exercise 7 days a week.
Is it also that you said that you are observing right now that women are also suffering from heart attacks, massive heart attacks? What is your observation with respect to overall men, women, and age-wise? Because and how it is different from the
Yeah.
senior people getting heart attack and younger
Yeah.
ones?
Yeah. So I mentioned earlier, the women before menopause are protected because of estrogens. They have a much lower incidence of heart attacks than men before menopause. But after the protection of estrogens is not there, once it goes away after menopause, the lady is at a higher risk of developing a heart attack than the man. The incidence in men is almost the same, but after menopause, and as the lady approaches 60, she goes ahead, the incidence is much more than men. So it's a catch-up phenomenon. So the estrogen is the major factor here. Now, uh, once the estrogen is withdrawn or it withdraws because of natural causes, we have also added other risk factors like stress, lifestyle diseases. So all these are major factors leading to a relatively younger lady. I would say 40 or 50 is still young. So these are one of the reasons. Lifestyle diseases, I would say, diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, and in some there is family history, so that has to be identified. So these factors are the ones that have increased the risk of heart attacks in ladies. Men continue to have the same risk. Men, number one, men are the ones who have been taking all the stress. So the stress factor is definitely more in men. Then they are more prone to lifestyle diseases, and they don't have the cover of estrogens. Then there is family history. There is diabetes, which is again a part of lifestyle disease. And since they have been, and the most important situation in the current era is all these call centers. Plus, there are continuous jobs that the gentleman has to sit for hours together. I'm not trying to say call centers in particular, but table jobs, I would say, table jobs where there is, and the computer. So there are, the person, the gentleman or the lady, they are sitting for continuous hours over there. So sitting on a continuous basis also is a risk factor for developing diabetes. And the most important is lack of vitamin D. This is also one of the triggers of diabetes mellitus. It may trigger diabetes mellitus, but vitamin D does not cure diabetes. It's a trigger for the onset of diabetes. Continuous sitting in a position. Research says that more than 2 to 3 hours of daily continuous sitting in a position also exposes you to the risk of diabetes.
When some person faces this, or what are kind of symptoms to understand and realize there is some problem, something is not well with her?
Typically, the symptom is most people have warning symptoms, and the typical symptoms in the affected person is they get chest pain while walking. It's called exertional angina. So once the pain starts when walking, and the gentleman, the lady feels something unusual, he or she should visit a doctor, get a proper check done to avoid a catastrophe. If you don't pay heed to these symptoms, so walking, exertional symptoms are the most common ones, but these you will not get chest pain all the time. The pain can come at the back. The pain could be in the form of choking in the throat. It could be jaw pain. It could be shoulder pain. It could be left arm pain. So these are all basic, very primary symptoms of patients who get warning symptoms before a major heart attack. And as you know, Indians are more prone for diabetes, more prone for high cholesterol and obesity, as a result, hypertension, and subsequently heart attacks. So we are, as it is, more at risk. Studies in India, studies on Indians in the Western world, they have come to the same conclusion that Indians and then Asians are more at risk from these lifestyle diseases.
Sir, is it also eating habits? Somewhere the youngsters and youth is turning out a lot into the junk food.
Yeah, eating habits also play a big role, especially if you have a very high carb diet, your high cholesterol laced diet. So yes, it does play a role, and a lot of fried stuff, the oil content, the way oil is used, the type of oil. So I think all these are food habits are definitely they play a big role here. Yes.
Very last thing, sir, a daily mantra for all our viewers to keep their heart healthy.
Number one, spend time in the sun. Have the vitamin D that is abundant in the country. India is blessed with plenty of sunlight. Spend time in the sun. Be active. Don't overwork. 3 to 4 days of activity, outdoor activity is good enough. Identify your risk factors. If there is any history of heart attacks in the family, father, mother, brother, sister, anybody has a history of heart attacks, that identification is a must. Identify diabetes. Identify if there is blood pressure. Identify if there is high cholesterol. And yes, spread the awareness in society. So
that's daily mantra that Dr. Rajiv Bhagwat tells us that yes, how important it is to keep our heart in more healthy way by all these tips.
And I would add one thing here is have a good night's sleep. Most important.